What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Master Duel Voiceless voice deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck just got released in the most recent selection pack on Master Duel. And this deck is absolutely broken and going to be one of the best decks to play on Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can come part of our notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name script in every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 2 copies of Skull Guardian, Protector of the Voiceless Voice. This card is our main boss monster and absolutely amazing. This card is really good to be able to summon out to your side of the field because it gains 2,050 attack points while you have a copy of Low Prayers of the Voiceless Voice on the field or in your graveyard, pushing this card up to 4,100. And you can use the following effects this card once per turn. If this card is ritual summoned, you get to add a Voiceless Voice monster or a ritual monster that's a warrior or a dragon from your deck to your hand. Also, when your opponent activates a card or effect while you control a copy of Low, quick effect, you can actually negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card, which is a really awesome effect to be able to use with this card. This card is a walking negate and comes out at 4,100, and also is a searcher on ritual summon, which is absolutely amazing. This card literally does everything for the deck. We then play a single copy of Sarvis. Sarvis is a great one in the deck that's super easy to summon with the human form of Sarvis, which is just really awesome to be able to play. But this card is a hand trap and also just negates special summons, which is absolutely broken. We then play a single copy of Odd Eye's Pendulum Graph. Odd Eye's Pendulum Graph is really good as a spell negate in the deck because this card has a really cool ability that when your opponent activates a spell card or effect, quick effect, you can place this card in your Pendulum Zone, and if you do, you negate that effect. And if you place this ritual summon card in your Pendulum Zone, you can actually special summon an Odd Eyes monster from your extract to your side of the field, which is a really cool ability to instantly get a monster replacement and a negate. We then play 3 copies of Low, the Prayers of the Voiceless Voice. This card is the key card of the entire deck and is absolutely amazing. That if you're going to ritual summon exactly one light ritual monster that's a warrior or dragon, you can use this card as the entire tribute for the ritual summon, which is a really awesome ability. Also, if this card is normal or special summon, you can place a Voiceless Voice continuous spell or trap from your deck face up in your spell and trap card zone. And if a light ritual monster that's a warrior dragon is special summoned to your field while this card's in the graveyard, you can special summon this card to your side of the field, which is an amazing ability to instantly bring this card back to your side of the field to make sure the effect of your Skull Guardian is going to be turned on, which is really important for this build. We then play 3 copies of Saphira. Saphira is such an important card for the deck because this card helps you ritual summon, because you can actually discard this card to send a ritual spell from your deck to the graveyard. Then you can add a light ritual monster that's a warrior dragon from your deck or graveyard to your hand. You can also banish this card from the graveyard to be able to ritual summon a light ritual monster that's a warrior or dragon from your hand, which is an absolutely amazing effect. By just banishing this card, it lets you ritual summon. We then play a single copy of Sarvis. Sarvis is really good to be able to play its human form because it can actually tag out for the ritual version of Sarvis. And you can special summon this card from your hand by actually shuffling 2 spell cards from your hand or graveyard into the deck, including a ritual spell, which your copy of Saphira is already going to be setting you up for this card, which is absolutely amazing. We then play 3 copies of Diviner of the Herald. Diviner of the Herald is really important as a 3-up in the deck, as the best normal summons in this deck is actually your copies of Low or your copy of Diviner. But this card is amazing because if this card is normal or special summon, you can send a fairy monster from your deck or extract to the graveyard. And if you do, increase this card's level by the level of the card that was sent to the graveyard for this card's effect. And if this card is tributed, you can special summon a level 2 or lower fairy monster from the hand or deck, except another copy of this card, which is a great effect because usually we're sending our copy of Trias to the graveyard. And once you send your copy of Trias, you can tribute your copy of Diviner, and since Low is a fairy, you can special summon Low directly from your deck by just normal summoning out Diviner, which is really cool. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom, basically just to stop the opponent from touching the deck. We play 3 copies of Maxi. Maxi is extremely important to be able to play in the deck because it is a Master Duel deck profile. This card is absolutely insane to basically stop the opponent from playing, because once you drop Maxi, they can either take the Maxi challenge or they can stop playing, which is going to be absolutely amazing for us because we can summon out cards like Skull Guardian that is a negate and just establish a really broken field. We then also play 3 copies of Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler is really good to be able to play in the deck as a 3-up to basically just stop your opponent's monster effects, and it's really good to be able to play a bunch of hand traps in the build as we have so many 1-card combos with cards like Diviner and Low in this deck. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get in to the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Pot of Prosperity. Pot of Prosperity is currently at 1 in Master Duel, which is why we just play a single copy in the build, but it's amazing to help us basically dig into the deck. And then a single copy of Blessing of the Voiceless Voice. Blessing is really good as a 1-of in the build, as you can target one of your Voiceless Voice cards that's banished or in your graveyard, accept another copy of this card and add it to your hand. And if a non-ritual monster is normal or special summoned face up except during the damage step, you can actually ritual summon a light ritual monster. It's a warrior dragon from your hand, which is a really cool ability. Also, it cannot be destroyed by battle when it is ritual summon, which is a really cool effect. But this card is definitely a 1-of in the build. We then play a single copy of Crossout Designator. Crossout Designator is amazing to basically just stop your opponent's hand traps, along with our 2 copies of Called by the Grave. You want to make sure your copy of Low goes through, so it's really important to be able to use these cards to make sure that your plays are going to go through. We then play 2 copies of Prayers of the Voiceless Voice. Prayers is really amazing in the deck, but you're actually never using this card to ritual summon. You're basically just using this card to send a graveyard off your copy of Saphira, so you can banish Saphira from the graveyard so you can ritual summon, but this card is absolutely important to be able to play in the deck because you have to play 2 copies so you can use it with your copy of Saphira. We then play 3 copies of Pre-Preparation of Rites. Pre-Prep is just really important for the build to be able to let you grab your ritual spell and your ritual monster from your deck to your hand, which is really important to be able to use, and I love that about this card, that it just helps you get your copy of your Skull Guardian directly from your deck to your hand and a copy of Prayers. Every so often you will be able to ritual summon with Prayers, but it's very rare that you ritual summon with your copy of Prayers because you're usually going to use your copy of Saphira. We then play 3 copies of Barrier of the Voiceless Voice. This card is very important, actually the card you want to place on your side of the field with your copy of Low, which this card is amazing because while you control a copy of Low and a light ritual monster, your opponent's monsters can only target your ritual monster for attacks. Also, your opponent cannot target light monsters that you control with card effects as well, giving your copy of your monsters like Skull Guardian an extra layer of protection while also protecting your copy of Low. This card also is a searcher because during your main phase, you can add a Voiceless Voice card or a Skull Guardian ritual monster from your deck to your hand, which is a really cool effect to instantly grab the exact card that you need off this card's effect. But this card is the card that you always want to use to be able to put on your side of the field with Low, which I do have combo videos on the channel showing you guys exactly how to play this deck. But what you want to do is summon out your copy of Low, use Low's ability, place this card on your side of the field, then search out your copy of Saphira, use Saphira's ability, send a copy of your Prayers to the graveyard, add Skull Guardian, and then once you do, you can use your copy of your Saphira, banish it from the graveyard, summon out your copy of Skull Guardian, tributing Low, and then your copy of Low will bring itself to your side of the field, and Skull Guardian will give you a search, and you already established a negate off of 1 copy of Low. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing a few, starting off with Radiance of the Voiceless Voice. This card is really good as a 1-of in the build because during the main phase, you can activate one of these effects to shuffle a light ritual monster that's a warrior dragon or a ritual spell from your hand or grave into the deck. And if you do, add to your hand or special summon a Voiceless Voice monster from your deck. But the main effect we use on this card is to target cards your opponent controls up to the number of light ritual monsters that are warrior dragons that you control and destroy both this card and as many of the targeted cards as possible, giving you multiple pops, which is really important for this build. We then also play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is really good at stopping your opponent's monster effects and also locking down entire columns of spells and traps. Plus, you can use this card with Crossout Designator to make sure we don't get hit with an Infinite Impermanence, which is really important. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with Dynamundo. Dynamundo is one of the most important cards for the entire extra deck because if this card is special summon, you can actually target 1 card on the field and 1 ritual monster in the graveyard and shovel both of them into the deck. And also, during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can tribute this card and then target one ritual monster in the graveyard and either add it to your hand or special summon it, which will actually bring back your copy of your Skull Guardian, which is amazing. We then play a single copy of Access Code Talker. Access Code's really good in the deck because it comes out absolutely massive. You can pop multiple cards on the field. One copy of Celine, because we do play spellcasters in the deck to be able to basically bring back your copy of your effect failure to your side of the field so you can step into Access Code, which is really important for this deck. We play a single copy of the Light Charmer. Light Charmer is really good because we do play a lot of lights in this deck, so we can step into this card, bring back one of our opponent's cards, step into a copy of Celine into Access Code, pop multiple cards on the field, and go in for game. Then play a single copy of SP Little Knight. SP Little Knight is really good in the deck. It's a double interruption, and if you don't have this card, definitely craft it in Master Duel. It's really important for a lot of decks, but it's really good to be able to play. If you don't have this card in Master Duel, you can play Nightmare Phoenix instead, though. We then play a single copy of IP Masquerena. IP is really good to be able to play in the build, because you can step into your copy of Dynamundo during the opponent's turn, which is amazing because then you contribute it, bring back your copy of Skull Guardian to your side of the field, which is amazing to be able to do. But this card also can step into copies of SP Little Knight. We then play a single copy of Link Karibo. Link Karibo is really important to be able to play in this deck because you can basically get rid of your copy of Low to make this card to give you some more protection for your copy of Skull Guardian. Then play a single copy of Salamangreat Alamirage. Alamirage is good in the deck as a 1-up to be able to link away your copy of your different cards. It's just a really awesome card in the deck. Then play a single copy of Relinquished Anima to gobble up your opponent's cards. One copy of Typhon because it's useful in just about every single deck. This card is so important to be able to play. And then play a single copy of Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel is really good to be able to make because you can basically just normal summon out your copy of Diviner, Diviner for Trash, Trash Tribute, the Diviner, and then summon out Low. Low goes full combo, and then you can make a copy of your Chaos Angel, which is really cool to be able to just get rid of an opponent's card and give you another layer of protection, which is really cool. We then play a single copy of Odd Eyes Meteor Burst. Meteor Burst is extremely important for this deck because you can play this or Wing Dragon, Odd Eyes Wing Dragon, as options for your copy of Pendulum Graph, but it's really good to be able to play in the deck so you have a target that you can summon off your copy of your Odd Eyes. You can play a single copy of Herald of Arclight. Herald of Arclight is really good to send a graveyard off Diviner to search a ritual monster or ritual spell. And then finally, one copy of Elder Entity Nist. Elder Entity Nist pops a card when it does touch the graveyard, so you can use this card with your Diviner to be able to pop a card on the field. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played Voiceless Voice before, you should definitely give this deck a try in Master Duel, as it's extremely powerful and going to be one of the best decks to be able to play. And if you guys have not checked out one of the live streams where I actually play Master Duel, you should definitely check that out because it's a really fun community event to be able to hang out with you guys and talk about decks and build decks with you guys. So that's going to do for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can come for our notifications. Squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.